C.9.5, which is how you rate the actual condition of the figures. I have the whole series out of the package, and I wanted that specifically so that people could put their hands on them, and you get a better feel of what the actual collection is. You get a more sense of euphoric feeling when you actually touch them.
Okay, how do you, no glasses, wait a minute. How do you maintain the upkeep on your collection? Do you have to, like, I'm sure your wife does not appreciate dusting everything.
No, it takes a lot of time. You have to keep things dusted. You have to keep them out of a very bright room, not a lot of direct sunlight on items. There are little tricks of the trade. For instance, if you have, let's say you find a Darth Vader figure, what do you call it, carrying case at a garage sale. Paul just brought me one not too long ago. If you know what you're doing and you know the correct consistency of the Coca-Cola, you can actually use Coca-Cola in a certain consistency with water, and it will just take all that old grime off and it'll actually clean it up completely well. So you have to know those little tricks of the trade on how to maintain the figures and clean them, but it does take a lot of time, a lot of dusting, and a lot of keeping the water out of the actual package, because there's always moisture in the air. And if moisture gets into those carded packets, then the plastic starts peeling on them, the backs of them start to peel, and the actual carrying parts where the holding parts actually start peeling off as well.
Right now I want to say hi to your wife. What's your wife's name?
Patricia.
Okay. Also, I feel empathy for you, Patricia, dealing with all this, because Brad has what you would call a museum of Star Trek, a museum of Star Wars, and J.R.R. Tolkien. Incidentally, J.R.R. Tolkien, every book, I have read every word. There's something about me, I don't know, I just cling to certain of these. It's The Lord of the Rings is super Christian, and I always thought there was strange wording. It sounded different than any language you'd ever heard, even though it was in English, and especially the names there. Okay, so I'm totally enthralled here. All right, what do you see your collection looking like in the future? And please don't say smaller.
Oh no, no. One of the reasons I'm letting a lot of this stuff go right now is I need more space, because I'm currently building a Darth Vader chair in the middle of my collection room. When you sit in the chair, so far the music comes on, and the helmet eventually will come out of the ceiling itself and land on you. I also, yes, I know, it is a little strange, but I enjoy it. I have also going to build a actual shuttlecraft in one of the corners, and I'm going to have a lot of the sections around it, so it looks like an actual shuttlecraft. It's going to have a little control panel, and I have a view screen that comes down and a zoom box that's set up above it. The zoom boxes are wonderful, and it projects right on your screen, and it's going to look like you're flying one of the actual shuttles itself. So I'm trying to make it look a little more jazzy, as well as having just all of the figures sitting around the actual rooms itself.
Well, do you have any idea? I would like it immediately, if not sooner. Open a store. No. I mean, you could go to certain areas. Oh man, I mean, you would be mobbed though. There would be like lines outside the store.
I would love to open a store, but see, I'm a school teacher, and I'm getting ready to start up a chess club at my school, and I just really, plus having two children, a 5-year-old and a new 3-month-old son, it's awfully hard to put that kind of time into a store. It has always been a dream of mine to do it. I do help out some store in the area, for instance, Monty's store down on 40 Highway. I help them out quite a bit, and like I said, Curtis out in St. Joseph, and Brian. I do some of the back scene stuff.
What would you like to see in your collection? A new thing? I mean, the Darth Vader just cracked me up. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I would love to have an actual Blix. Blix is one of the droid series figures that they put out. It was a series, it was a cartoon. And I've had some people bring me their Blixes, and that particular figure is worth about, I'm saying about $5,700 last time I looked in the book. However, the two that have been brought to me have been counterfeits. And one of them knew it, I'm sure, and the other one had no idea and had really spent $3,000 on an item that was worth about 15 cents. So you really need to know what you're actually getting. There's only 20 of those in the registered in the United States right now. It was only released in Brazil, just as the original Yak Face was only released in Australia. So I really enjoy some of the harder to find figures that are limited editions.
Brad is a master of 4 languages?
I can speak several languages.
Several languages.
French, Spanish, some Russian, and English, and then because of Boy Scouts, I can speak Indian Sign Language. So.
Ooh. Like Apache?
No, just it's just the Boy Scout Indian Sign Language.
Okay. This is one thing that's really been bugging me around this area. Everybody is lazy. Me, I'm lazy. Okay, we're being lazy. We need to learn Spanish. Come on. All right, but my Spanish friends, you also need to learn English. Okay, when someone says habla Inglés, you've got to say yes. I mean, you live in America. This is America. It's also Missouri. And what does the Missouri say? Well, it's the show me state. And you've just got to learn some language right now because of the influx of people from other countries. We're just going to have to. I'm trying to learn Spanish, but being a baby boomer, I don't know, I used to learn any language pretty easily, and I am a Latin teacher. Alright, I actually taught Latin. Yes, I am the last of the Latin teachers. So that does not make me ancient. Remember that. Okay.
Well, remember, in this day and age with technology the way it is, there's lots of websites that you can go to and have things translated for you. If you're Spanish speaking, like for instance, I have a client in my work whose mom speaks nothing but Spanish, and anytime she wants to say anything to me, she can type it into the certain websites. You can just go to any Yahoo site and just type in free Spanish to English translation, and they'll pop up. You can type in the actual what you want to say in Spanish and then translate it to English. It's not 100%, but it's very close, and that at least gives you an idea. And then once you start speaking to each other, then you can each learn each other's language.
Okay, I have to admit, I have a bar in my neck. Alright, and so I'm not the world's greatest typer. And so what I was going to do also this month is I'm going to memorize the typewriter board on the computer so that I can at least go a little bit faster than beyond slow. Okay. Why Star Trek instead of other items? What's the deal with Star Trek? I'm not really fascinated with the new generation. I like the old generation, but the new generation is okay.
Well, that's interesting. I've always gotten into it because I'm a history teacher, and there's so much history in Star Trek. For instance, the very first time that anywhere on television that an African American kissed a Caucasian was in the episode where Kirk's brought down to a planet, and there's just telepathic individuals going to make people do whatever they want to do. And Kirk kisses Uhura, and it was so hard for people in the South to accept that it was actually banned in the South for 3 years, and no one was allowed to see it until '69.
People get with it.
Yeah, it's a great way to get information out. I always teach in my classes. I say, look, if you need another way to think about the Nazis and the Maquis and all that kind of stuff, I said, let's look at Star Trek. Let's look at the Cardassians. Let's look how they wear the same types of uniforms as the Nazis, how they specifically work in the same type of units, how you have the French Maquis, well now you have the Bajoran Maquis now in Star Trek, and how they have the underground movements, how they work in small splinter cells, and it's just a lot of history in it. I've always appreciated how each episode, for the most part, with the exception of Voyager, actually goes back to the old characters and uses their ideas. For instance, you had Kirk and Spock, which everyone loved. You had Spock, who was the intellect and the negotiator and logical, and then you had Kirk, which was the real strong, muscular, got to get every kind of woman he possibly can type of guy. Well, you get to the Next Generation, you have Picard. Well, he's sort of both. He can get the ladies, but he's also that logical intellect as well. And you go on to Deep Space Nine, and you get people that splinter off of that idea. You got Odo, who's the alien that's trying to fit in. Well, you got Spock, who's the alien that's trying to fit in.